Hello and welcome to episode 46 of the Dynamo Football Book Club. My name's Al Bond and I'm joined by my co-host, Johnny Psycho Coughlin. Psycho. Johnny, you've got wonderful hair and you would never miss a decisive penalty.
I don't think anyone's called me psycho before, maybe my wife.
Well, I call you Psycho, Johnny, because this week we're doing Stuart Pearce. The greatest footballer of all time, Johnny? Discuss.
But England would feel pretty happy about Stuart Pearce coming up in this situation. A man who doesn't mince his words and really doesn't mess about when it comes to hitting a football. Oh, and he's hit it too straight. And West Germany find it's tilting their way.
Yeah, I have a lot to ask you, because this is very much an Al episode, isn't it?
Well, a little bit.
So the book is Psycho, predictably enough.
Yes.
And a nice week for you to go down a kind of a Forest nostalgia, memory lane kind of journey, because it's been a rough week, no?
I choose to see it as exciting. It's an exciting week. We're going to become the most attacking football team in the whole world. That's exciting, isn't it? What could possibly go wrong? It's going to be fine, Johnny, isn't it? It's going to be fine.
Yeah, well, I wish you well, Al. I wish Nottingham Forest well.
Anyway, so back to Stuart Pearce, Johnny.
Back to Stuart Pearce.
He is my favourite player of all time. And I think if you ask any Forest supporter who's my age, they would say the same. He just... 78 England caps. He's just our boy. He was wonderful. And I honestly think his penalty against Spain back in 1996, Johnny, that was my favourite ever football memory. That was my favourite. I get a little bit emotional thinking about it now.
You recognise this shirt, Al?
Yeah, I do. It's the 1996 Spain shirt.
Yes, it is the 1996 Spain shirt. I was in Italy, actually, for that game. I remember it well. I was not shouting for England.
No, I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
I mean, I was...
That's nice. When you've read this book, do you think Pearce might be a bit tight with cash?
Is that what you took out of it? I didn't really think that. I thought a lot of things. I mean, that's what Brian Clough used to accuse him of, right? Of being a bit of a miser.
He's so obviously a miser. He was still working as an electrician about 6 years into his professional football career.
That makes him relatable, Johnny. He's a... Well, all right. Here's a quick anecdote about his money grabbing, and it all ties into the penalty kick. So he did the Pizza Hut advert with Gareth Southgate. Don't worry, Gareth. It only took me 6 years to get over it. Have a slice of pan pizza. And he said at the time, Gareth Southgate asked him, he goes, Stuart, would you have done this after your penalty miss in 1990? And Stuart Pearce goes, yes, I would. But in the book, he confesses there's absolutely no way he would have done it after the penalty miss in 1990. But he told Gareth Southgate it would be all right because he wanted the £40,000 that Pizza Hut paid him.
Yeah. But that is quite nice. And, the penalties were new then, right? So that was worse then than it is now. I know that there was a big racial element when, Rashford and Saka and Sancho missed. But other than that, it's not as bad to miss penalties now as it was then.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, there's a whole litany of... I'm doing air quotes here, villains now. I mean, you can go back, there's so many of them, but back then, it was Stuart Pearce and Chris Waddle. And then in 1996, Gareth Southgate added himself to that list, and they were the three.
And then it was David Batty and Paul Ince in 1988.
Been so many damn years, Johnny, so many damn years.
I'm going to hear from you now about your love for Pearce. I'm going to hand this over to you, Al. I have wondered why you hate Liverpool so. But this is a hatred that is shared by Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, Forest hate Liverpool. We always have. John fucking Aldridge. Ruffling Brian Laws's hair. I mean, I do remember that. Oh, you're such a scumbag. Did you notice after that, though, there was a little quote saying, like, forget about Aldridge, get McMahon, get McMahon. Even after John Aldridge being a right arsehole, you're still like, that fucking nail Steve McMahon. He's still the worst guy, no matter what.
Yeah, what does he describe him as? Yeah, he says he's just kind of a scumbag who'd leave his foot in, right? I was hoping for more McMahon. More hate on McMahon, but it was limited, actually. But okay. So is there any Al Pearce anecdotes? Have you met him?
In passing. Have I met him? No. Have I been close to him and shook his hand? Yes. Well, there is one little anecdote. As we learned, Stuart Pearce was married to Liz Pearce, daughter of a Wiltshire pig farmer. And he appears to have picked his bride by looking at a woman who looked almost exactly like him. And then he's married her because Liz Pearce and Stuart Pearce look almost precisely the same. If anything, Stuart Pearce is a bit more attractive. But yeah, she's a big horsey lady. Red flag. And yeah, Stuart Pearce used to rent a field off my uncle for the horses in Nottinghamshire. Yeah. This is my celebrity uncle, Johnny, as well. Simon Bond, famous cartoonist. If you want to check out Simon Bond on David Letterman's show in the early 80s, you can find a clip of David Letterman being very, very unimpressed by the man that he's interviewing. It's wild. He really, really takes against my uncle. Anyway, so that was it. Yeah, so apparently Stuart Pearce did go round to my uncle's house once to like negotiate the field thing, but my uncle did not invite me round for that. So no, I've had no real Stuart Pearce meetings.
So just on your uncle, he was in the New York Times bestseller list for 100 uses of a dead cat.
101, yeah. Back in the 70s.
That's pretty cool, man. Okay, I have no Stuart Pearce information or stories.
Yeah, I mean, how did you view Stuart Pearce? I guess he was a little bit before your time, right?
Tough, I suppose, but I remember watching that thing. Like the 1991 was before my time, but 1996 was not, and I very much remember that. And yeah, I guess he was tough, but he, I guess he was never much of a threat to the higher end of the league when I was watching football. That was earlier in his career, right?
Yeah, well, that's right. But he could have been, yeah. He had all sorts of opportunities to join bigger teams, but stayed loyal to the mighty Reds. I sort of detect a hint of regret about that in the book, but I don't like to dwell on it.
Okay, let's jump into Pearce. He is relatable insofar as he played for Wealdstone for 5 years in non-league. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he is the absolute poster boy for the player who came through later in life. Yeah, I don't think he turned pro till he was 21 and then went on to win 78 England caps. I mean, I just don't think that could happen now.
Well, Vardy, I guess, is the closest we've got, eh?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But
yeah, the very famous quote is, I think it was Bobby Gould, the Coventry chairman, went to check out Wealdstone, and within 5 minutes, Pearce had put like a winger in the stands with his tackle. And Bobby Gould said, "I've seen enough." Off he goes, sign him. And yeah, 30 grand for a non-league player back in the 80s, that was a lot.
It's amazing though, isn't it? If you think that maybe Bobby Gould hadn't gone to that, like, would he have been discovered? I guess you'd never know, right? There's no way of telling. But Steve Finnan is another one who played at kind of every level, right? And these fellas, another Irish player like that is Damien Delaney. And when he came up from the championship with Palace, I think maybe Pardew, or who was his manager? Anyway, he said to his manager, "Just give me a chance, because he kind of felt like they wouldn't think he was up to Premier League standard, and they did give him a chance. Some guys are just able to step up level to level, right? Whereas I guess that doesn't apply to everyone. But there must be fellas who just don't get found. But anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, fortunately it did. Unfortunately, it happened just in time because Stuart Pearce was quite wild as a kid. There was an incident where he's Grand Theft Auto, Pearce City. He steals a car when he's a teenager. And amazingly, just sort of gets away with it. He's like, here's a quote. It was not like modern car theft, which is a serious offence and a real stigma, but more of a minor misdemeanor. When I steal a car, it's not really serious. When someone else steals a car, that is a serious offence. But I did it. And yeah, he got away with it. He's climbing over. He was climbing up on red lights at traffic sections. Another police caution there.
3 convictions by the time he signed for Coventry. And he said that he went to court on one of them and the judge was kind of lenient. And he was like, nice. And he went away and he was back the same afternoon with the same judge.
I'm glad the judge had a sense of humour. Oh yeah, it's very funny, isn't it? Climbing on a red light. Oh.
So he's a Cockney boy.
Yeah, he is. Comes from quite a weird family. All his brothers and sisters are much, much older than him. He's got a brother, Ray, who's 17 years older than him, who amazingly was a linesman at a competitive game he was playing at for Forest, which is absolutely wild, against Brighton in the League Cup. And he even disallowed a goal for Brighton. But no one ever put 2 and 2 together that Ray Pearce running the line was Stuart Pearce's brother playing on the pitch. Blimey, that wouldn't happen now, would it?
Well, Al, I just signed up for an over 40s football team in France. And we played our first league game the other day. We won 7-0. I played the first half. And in the second half, I was a linesman. I've never really done that before. But a linesman in a game that I was competing in. I went back on after 15 minutes of being a linesman.
It was 11-a-side?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it was fun. That is funny, isn't it? He said something in the book like, it would be a great trivia question. And I was thinking, it's so obscure. It wouldn't make a great trivia question.
No. What would be a trivia question is which member of your family stood for the BNP? Stuart Pearce, and that's his older brother, Dennis. Not such a nice character. Yeah, Pearce was a wild man in his youth. There was... He says he used to go to local pubs to watch live bands, and he'd be doing forward rolls whilst the band was performing. I'd like to see that. Stuart Pearce. Just an exuberant forward. I love this music. I'm going to do a forward roll. I'm going to keep doing it. Lovely forward rolls.
The music comes up throughout the book, right? He's big into music. He's a rock guy.
Well, he's a punk guy. I mean, this is what he was always famous for. I think he got banned off Radio Nottingham for playing God Save the Queen when that was taboo. Although he is a big royalist, as he points out later on. Loves the Sex Pistols, but also the Royals. He's a complex man, a man of mixed emotions, God Save the Queen. No, literally. I think they meant that song literally. The fascist regime.
I think he's... that does give him a certain X factor, though. Not the loving the royal family, but liking punk does make him... Because... You loved him, but you were into Guns N' Roses and all that. Pearce is not exactly cool, is he?
No, Pearce is really the opposite of cool. I mean, look at his haircut. It's absolutely scandalous, his whole career.
I just wanted to be sure. And when you said poster boy earlier, I'm not sure you want to own many posters. Poor old Stuart. But anyway, yeah, so because he talks about meeting various musicians, and he says that one of the kind of real things he loved about being a professional footballer is that he often got to meet and go backstage with the various acts that he was into. So that's quite nice that he's so into the music, I think.
He's just so nerdy. He's like, I took a bunch of the Forest lads to Leicester University to see the Stranglers. And we went backstage and everyone was pretty relaxed. They were so relaxed that someone was actually indulging in the old wacky backy. Anytime you see wacky backy written down, you know that person is not cool, right? They were indulging in a bit of the old wacky backy. And then they asked the Stranglers in the most cringeworthy fashion if they could trash their dressing room for them afterwards. And they said, yeah, go ahead. He's also friends with Jake Burns from the Stiff Little Fingers. Are you familiar with the Stiff Little Fingers, Johnny?
That's alternative Ulster, isn't it?
I'm going to take your word for that, Johnny.
Uh,
Well, anyway, I mean, he's friends with this Jake Byrne, who is the nerdiest guy. And he's like, I took Liz to meet him. She was expecting some 6'4" punk rocker with a safety pin through his nose. She was surprised to find him in a flowery shirt. He looks like a right dog. They're nerdy, all right. There's a picture of him with Jake Burns at the back of a book, and the picture is captioned, growing old gracefully. It's just, no, growing old dorkily. So then, yeah, so he's at Coventry. I mean, let's cut out all this crap. Let's get to the good bits. The golden years. Yeah, here we go. Like, this is the chapter names. Honestly, this is a book written by a tabloid journalist. The chapter names are just so shit. The captions on the pictures are so shit. Here's some chapter names. To Hull and back. Yep, you got a trial at Hull. Sent to Coventry. Oh, how'd you come up with that when you were playing Coventry? Oh, it just writes itself, Stuart. Like, goes to Forest. Forest fire. Come on, do better. So lazy.
What I found funny about this book, Al, was he tells his whole career in the first few chapters, and then he starts all over again.
Well, how do you mean by that?
The first, whatever it is, 80 pages of the book kind of tells the whole story of the book for whatever reason. And then he goes back to start and does it in a longer form. It's like he gives an abridged version at the start. I didn't understand why. And I was thinking to myself, I read it on Kindle, and I was looking at the kind of percentage. I was like, what the hell is in the rest of this book? And then it goes right back to the start.
It's all the golden anecdotes. I mean, that's it. I think a lot of players, we found this, they find it very difficult to sort of put their playing career, club career, and their international career. And he sort of cuts that all up and moves it all around. So I guess that's how it works like that. Because it starts with a penalty against Germany.
Penalties, yeah. Penalties, right? Because I guess Spain was his redeeming moment, all right. So do you remember the England one you do? Oh, sorry, they're both England, the 1991.
Yeah, I do. I think I was 13. I was at home in my bedroom. My dad had work visitors, so he wasn't watching, and I was very, very upset. It was, that was, I don't know, at that age, that was about the worst thing that ever happened to me. It was so awful. And I remember getting a phone call from James Catterson, just going, fucking Pearce, and just hanging up the phone, like, oh. Yeah, first time I'd ever been trolled over football. Yeah, very, 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 very painful memory. Very painful memory for me, John.
Well, I have a very painful memory from 2 days ago when Ireland lost 2-1 to Armenia. We were told it was going to be different this time, Al. And it wasn't different, it was the same. Anyway.
I worry for you a lot, because what's all that's doing is breeding egg chasers, isn't it? It's like all the young Irish men must be going like, I like rugby now.
Certainly all the old Irishmen saying they like rugby now. Tell you, that's what people in Ireland like. My God.
Why? Anyway, so yeah, goes to Coventry, does great, but then goes to Stuart, goes to Clough's Nottingham Forest. And there's some good Cloughy stuff in here. There's some real good Cloughy stuff.
There's great Clough stuff. Great Clough stuff. That was a whole pile of fun. So these are the Clough ones I have. We can compare Clough notes. Firstly, he says he had kind of a business relationship with Clough. He and Clough weren't close, and they fell out. But presumably, you knew all this. You read this book before, I guess.
I have read this book before, years ago.
But there's lots of fun stuff. So I mentioned him meeting famous musicians, but Elton John came into the changing room once when they were playing against Watford, and Elton John was the chairman of Watford, and Clough, and we know Clough is funny about gay people because how he treated Justin Fashioner, but he came out of the shower nude, covered in soap, and hugged Elton John.
I'd like a picture of that, Johnny. Imagine that picture. Oh, if it had camera phones in those days. A naked, sopping wet Brian Clough embracing Elton John. I like it.
The one thing that confused me, so Clough always wanted to beat Liverpool because Liverpool were always essentially preventing. I guess Liverpool to Nottingham Forest were what Man City have been to Liverpool in recent years, right? Just up until last year, let's say, pipping them to league and stuff like that. So Clough always wanted to beat Liverpool, but he wanted to beat Derby more, mostly because of, I guess, his own relationship with that club and the end there. But he said there at one point that he told them to come down early for this particular game against Derby, and they came down early, and he was in the bath in his clothes. But that's Clough. But no water on. I wasn't quite sure about that. No water on.
I mean, your guess is as good as mine.
And then he got out of the bath and got into the sauna, and he was carrying around a shovel. But then this sounds like someone who's having a breakdown. But then Pearce goes on to explain how that was kind of somehow indicative of what a good manager he was. That one really confused me.
I mean, he is very, very enigmatic. First of all, I'll just give you a quick Derby quote from Stuart Pearce, maybe the best quote in the book. If I didn't have a club to go to and Derby was the only option, I would go on the dole. Yes, you would, lad. Yes, you would. Very good. Yeah, so, all right. So here's some of my Clough stuff. He says, if you were in the dressing room and you didn't have shoes on, Clough would come over and stand on your bare feet and just stand there and talk to you. And if you said anything, he'd get it.
He would do it to opposing team captains and stuff in the referee's room as well.
Yep, absolutely golden. He also says Stuart Pearce, Clough always kept him humble. Whenever Stuart Pearce was substituted, Brian Clough would take the substitution board himself and hold up its number. He wouldn't let the other guy do it. No, Clough wanted Stuart Pearce to know it was him personally bringing him off.
3 times. He was only ever substituted by Clough 3 times.
But every time Stuart Pearce, Brian Clough held up the board.
That is pretty good, isn't it?
Oh, there's so much good stuff. David Curry. I remember David Curry at Forest because he was on the bench once with Brian Rice, very famously, Curry and Rice. And Brian Clough says, David, you bought a house? Not yet, Gaffer. Don't bother. Don't bother. True enough. And he sold him off. There's another oh, mate, there's so much gold for Clough here. They were playing Millwall.
Oh, I have that here. That's one of the best. That's actually really, really good, isn't it? Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, it's just that man. So they were stuck in traffic. So Clough said, off a bus. And he marched the whole Forest team through the Millwall supporters whilst brandishing a big stick, apparently. Cloughy. Just quality.
But Pearce says that all of the players were kind of staying close together because nobody wanted to be left as a straggler in amongst the seething Millwall fans. But apparently the Millwall fans loved it.
Yeah, I should imagine you would. Like that poor bus driver. There was a time apparently they were caught in traffic. Like police would come on the bus and like Brian goes, "Get off my fucking bus!" Like, oh, sorry. One time he was driving down the hard shoulder on a motorway because the bus was stuck. The police stopped him, and it was Brian Clough driving the bus. But when he got stopped by the police, he jumped off, ran to the back, and put the driver back on to take the rap. There was another time, but this is my favourite bus-related incident. There was one time when Brian Clough had organised a little trip to Mallorca for the team 2 weeks hence. And he got the bus driver to take a 45-minute detour to drive by East Midlands Airport so they could all wave at the airport. You'll be there in 2 weeks. Give it a wave. Go on. He says, can you imagine what we look like? A bunch of grown men waving at an airport. But can we just not go home, Gaffer? We're going to go and wave at the airport first. Absolute gold. Another time, they're in a restaurant. Some poor fella bowls over, comes up to Cloughy. You look like you put on weight, Brian. What do you do? I'm an undertaker. Well, why don't you fuck off and die? Cloughy.
But in that one as well, the fella comes over and says, you look like you put on weight. And Clough says, what the fuck did he say to me? And he doesn't even address it to the lad. And then whoever says, He said you put on weight. And then he turns around to the fella and says, what the fuck did you say to me? Yeah, he's a bully, right? Clough is an enigmatic, charismatic bully.
No question at all. But he kept them lads in line, didn't he? That's it. It was just, to have that control over a big group of alpha males, you have to have something, don't you?
The other bus one was, I couldn't quite figure this out. The bus broke down and the driver went to fix the bus, but it was somehow internal. He had to climb through, I guess, down, but in the way it was described, it sounded like he was climbing up somehow. But anyway, he had to climb into some little hole anyway. And then Clough just took off with this fella sticking out of whatever hole he was in, like fixing the bus. What a fucking scumbag. Clough is a scumbag.
Yeah, I think that's fairly safe to say. But what a manager, Johnny. Well, doesn't diminish from his greatness.
Yeah. He did say that like Clough could convey a point in really succinctly in a line or even in a couple of words or whatever. And he said he'd go over to him, maybe you can say, dip your bread. I can't do it.
Dip your bread?
If someone told me to dip my bread, I wouldn't even know what they were talking about. But it meant to go on attack. Dip your bread, Stuart.
That's it. He's like, I don't know. He's like, fill your boots while he can, isn't it? I think, like, just you can always get him.
Yeah, I thought the book was quite tedious until I got to the Clough stuff, and then I loved that Clough stuff.
Yeah, the Clough stuff's gold. There's some good anecdotes at the back as well. When he talks to, there's a chapter called The Nearly Man, which is like, my wife Liz. I don't know. I'm doing a Clough impression. Like, my wife Liz always calls me the Nearly Man, but it's just like it's because you lost some games. I mean, like all footballers lose some games. I guess you nearly won that. I took against his wife, frankly, and so did he eventually because he left her in 2012.
Why did you take against her?
Oh, she sings like a humorless individual, doesn't she? Like, she never wanted to go and see his punk band. She didn't like anything that he does. Oh, I don't like football. There's one time he travelled out to Spain to see her because she was in some horse tournament and he'd bleached his hair blonde. She didn't seem very pleased to see him. Right? She seemed incredibly embarrassed to see him. Oh, he bleached his hair blonde, by the way, and he was like, everybody thought I was gay. He's like, did they? Did they in Spain? Everyone, yeah.
Yeah, that was a funny one. Yeah, the way the locals looked at me, they clearly thought I was gay. When was this book written?
About 2000. Yeah, there's some changing attitudes as well. There was one time he was away with England, and he's like, they told us to stay out the sun, but we didn't. Gary Lineker could have swapped passports with John Barnes. It's like, you definitely wouldn't make that joke nowadays. You definitely wouldn't.
You know, on this topic, I was putting together I was mixing the version, the one we did there, the last draft, which is about the bad haircuts. And I looked back at David Baddiel and Frank Skinner doing Jason Lee, because it was those two who really bullied Jason Lee. But David Baddiel is like in brown face doing that.
Oh, well, very, very famously. Yes. I mean, that has followed him around since. That's something he's always having to defend it. But yeah, no, he's always having to defend himself against that. No, that's not a secret. Because he wrote a book about anti-Semitism and everyone's like, oh yeah, you don't like discrimination, Dave. It's like, no, I don't. But that was a long time ago. It was a long time ago.
That's not that long ago. He's not Al Jolson, like.
No, mid-90s, exactly right.
Anyway, okay, just on that when they went to, because Liz was into horses, right? Pearce says on a few occasions, and this is kind of a nice trait, he's one of those people who goes to things if you invite him. If he says yes to something, he means it. Now, I don't know about English people, but Irish people are forever inviting people to things without meaning it. We're terrible for that. Oh, yeah, let's go and have a drink together. People are always doing that in Ireland, and everybody seems to understand that it's totally po-faced and not genuine at all. Anyway, they said, oh, you should come to the show jumping. We're going to Barcelona. And he's like, yeah, that would be nice. And then he shows up. And they didn't want him to be there at all. I did quite like that.
Yeah, he's a go-getter. He is prepared to say yes. He's very much trying to improve himself, or at least he's trying to convey the fact he's looking to improve himself. He rather unconvincingly states at one point that he sits down and talks about books of poetry and Shakespeare with Tony Adams How often does that happen, Johnny? Oh, Tony, I'd like you to discuss the latest anthology of Ali Smith's poetry. I don't think that really happens. He went to South Pacific, a matinee. Oh, I thought I'd try a musical. An old lady had a heart attack and he had to save her.
Oh, go on.
And an usherette was attacked by a pensioner. That's very weird.
Were you at Rupert the time someone had a heart attack in the cinema?
Yes, I was there. Yes. Very quick anecdote. It was Lost in Translation I was seeing at the Duke of York's with Rupert and Merlin. And yes, I just heard this like, and it's like, what's going on? The house lights went up. Is there a doctor in the house? There was not. There was a student nurse. They dragged the poor bloke. And they dragged him, just left him on the floor next to our seats. And our mutual friend was laughing so hard that he had to leave the cinema and climb over the distraught man on the floor. We never know what happened to him. He had to step over him whilst laughing. And then he went home, but we didn't see him again for the whole day. Golden memories.
Yeah, okay. Good on the student nurse. Okay, let's see. Is there any particular... Tell me about Pearce and Forest and the football, because we talked about Clough, but tell me about Pearce and the actual... Where does this love come from? Like you said, 78 caps for England, but tell me more.
Well, he was our best player. He maintained standards. Before every single home game, he would come over and he'd do his like arm wavy psycho thing. He'd get the crowd riled up. But the point was, he stayed. He could have gone to Juventus. He didn't. He stayed at Forest. He could have gone Man United. He stayed at Forest. When we got relegated, he stayed, even though he was an England player. Just loyalty in a way that you're just never, ever going to get in it.
Yeah. And when did he get the name Psycho? Where was that?
I think that was late 80s, just because he was such a hard tackler. Just, he really would go straight through you. But I mean, he wasn't deliberately psychotic, but he just was such a hard tackler. You know, fans love that, right? You see a defender absolutely clear out a winger. I mean, that's what you're there for.
Well, this is why Roy Keane is the most beloved player in Ireland. Well, I suppose he divides opinion a bit, but he's probably still the most beloved player we've had, because he was a tough son of a gun. But okay, but he wasn't dirty, was he?
No. He really wasn't. He has a strong moral code, old Pearcey. Although he did bite Ted McMinn's nipple. Again, back in the days of multiple cameras. They wouldn't like that now, would they? I mean, imagine Stuart Pearce wouldn't like that reputation if he had a nipple biter reputation like Suarez.
Poor old Suarez is in the news again, spitting. Golly.
Oh, yes, man of a coach, yeah. He got through 3-game ban, yeah. Well done, MLS. They are absolutely enthralled to Messi. How long should the ban be met? Well, I suppose he did spit 3 games, I guess. All right, 3 games it is. Like, absolutely outrageous. Can we talk about a few of the people that Stuart Pearce does not like?
Well, that's the best bit of all books.
Yes. So, Rude Hullett. He does not like Rude Hullett.
I got vague Glenn Hoddle vibes from his description of Rude Hullett. Kind of that somewhat detached, arrogant kind of, yeah, that was what I got. Didn't like his music.
Shearer.
Didn't like his music.
No, he gets furious at Shearer one time. You've sold out because they're playing soul music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell when it was written because Pearcey goes, I would never listen to any crap like Garage. Well, no one would now. That's very, very much marks for time.
Pearce says that he liked to listen to The Clash, The Stranglers, but he would compromise with Oasis.
And Oasis are an up-and-coming band at this point. Like, it's like, I'll be following their career with interest. I wonder how they get on. Like, yeah, well, it doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't like Shilton is a complex man, great goalkeeper, but a complex man who likes to gamble. There's one point where like Shilton loses a bunch of money in one of these betting scams, which apparently all footballers do all the time. It's like, we were worried he might do something silly. It's like, what's he going to do that's silly? What? Tell me, go further. There's an England coach as well. He's like, this man was absolutely nuts. He'd like stand up, he'd like pour water all over himself, all for a laugh. And then at the end of a description goes, he eventually went too far, but it was great fun. And it's like, he eventually went too far. Tell me how he went too far. But he doesn't tell me how he went too far. He eventually went too far. It's so ominous. It's like, but we never get that. All right, so here's one when he's away with England duty, and the Sun runs the story. It's like 3 England players take hostess to bed, and like the manager's coming in. I think it might have been Venables. He's like, who? Or it might have been Graham Taylor actually. He's like, who are the lads? It's like, it was John Barnes, Stuart Pearce, and Peter Beardsley. What? John Barnes, Stuart Pearce, no, that doesn't sound right. Like they're all laughing about like. Stuart Pearce says, maybe John Barnes, but definitely not me. And Peter Beardsley, no. Oh,
Collymore is an oddball. There's nothing new there. There was nothing particularly new about Collymore, but I guess he did a good job of kind of conveying to someone such as me how good Collymore was, and he essentially brought them up and brought Forest to 3rd in the league.
I can't stress how good Collymore was that season. For the 2 seasons he played for us, he was unbelievably good. I mean, he was the record British transfer, right? And for a good reason, because he was so fucking amazing. But a total arsehole. Yeah, talking of, you see, these are the weird things, the little stories that come up. They're saying at Forest they had a secret Santa. And Kingsley Black, do you remember Kingsley Black? He was an unconvincing winger. And he got Brian Roy as a secret Santa. And he's like, well we all laughed because Kingsley Black got Brian Roy a puppet with a P as a heart because he wasn't very brave. It's like, what? How? Where? What? How did you? I'd like to buy a puppet, please. But I need a P heart. Yeah, we got lots actually. You're in luck. The whole lorry load in today. He's like, there you go, Brian. Brian Roy for touch me going. A puppet. Look, the heart is a P because you're a fucking coward. It's so weird. But I just don't believe these stories sometimes.
Was Brian Roy good?
Yeah, he was good this season he had with Collymore. He was absolutely electric.
That's what Pearce says.
Yeah, and then after that, he lost his mojo, man. He was, not a big fighter.
Because I remember the first time I ever did fantasy football. Do you remember doing fantasy football in the newspaper and you'd have to write down your team and like post it?
Literally, I did that. Yeah, posted it off to the Telegraph.
Yeah.
Here's my transfers.
I'm fairly certain I had Brian Roy the first time I was doing fantasy football when I was posting it off to whichever was the Irish Independent or something,
No, well, you would have done, 94, 95. Oh, lovely Forest.
Yeah, I never was quite very good at that.
We should talk about fantasy football one day, like how much it upsets me.
Are you doing it now?
No, I might fuck. No, I wouldn't dream of doing it with Forest as a Premier League entity. I just invite tempting fate so hard.
Do you have such control over the fate of the universe?
Feels like you do, though, doesn't it? Like it does feel like that. I won't comment when I'm watching Forest. I won't say, "Oh, we're playing well," because I can immediately conjure up a goal from the opponents if I say any such thing like it.
So you have the discipline not to say anything.
I generally try not to. I mean, I can critique, but I try not to say anything positive because that generally will affect anything hideously, in my experience.
It must be a joy to watch these games with you.
It's not. No, ideally, I like to watch football lying in bed with no one around me so I can just breathe very shallowly and try not to feel too much. It affects me. I fucking hate football, Johnny. It just brings me so much pain. I just genuinely I do, especially when we're winning, try to hold on to the lead. I just lay there, like, just taking little shallow breaths, like, don't let emotions in. This could all go wrong. In, out.
But then, it sounded like you didn't want to talk about Nuno. Like, what was your reaction to that news?
Oh, well, it's sort of been coming. I mean, it was just, absolute devastation, to be honest, because the season started so well. It's like smash Brentford around, lovely stuff. And that, what? Why? Oh, why are you moaning? And you knew it was over then. I was sort of, what do people say, huffing coping. I was like, well, maybe they can make it better. They didn't make it better. And after the West Ham game, that's the worst Forest to play for 3 years. So, his time was up.
And what's the feeling amongst Forest fans who the loyalty is towards Nuno or to Marianakis?
I think everything Marianakis has done up to this point has been good. Just about in every case, apart from when Lamouchi went and Houghton came in, Chris Houghton came in. Every single manager we've got has improved on the past. So there's a part of you just say trust him. Trust him. Apparently, he just thinks Nuno could never take us to the next level. We're never going to be able to play attacking, exciting football with Nuno.
Right, you've certainly rolled the dice in that respect, haven't you?
We've got the most attacking coach in the whole fucking world, haven't we? So what could go wrong? Oh God.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. But I guess Marianakis is a character. There's that much to be said for sure.
We certainly have. I mean, when I first came to live in America, people would say, "What's your soccer team?" And I'd say Nottingham Forest, and they would say, "Who? I've never heard of them." Well, you've heard of us now. We're the little club that could really annoy every other team in the Premier League. Like, yes, we are.
So he became in terms of his career. So Clough goes. Pearce doesn't talk to Clough for the last year because he kind of felt like Clough had kind of dicked him around a bit over a contract that kind of ignored him.
Yeah, there was a scene where Clough case, hello skipper, and Pearce just totally blanks him. And this was when Clough was in the grips of alcoholism. And it's actually quite a sad story, I think. It just seems that's it. Clough knows at that point he's lost his aura, right? That his captain won't even speak to him anymore. And that kind of made me sad.
Well, it is sad. I mean, imagine like this man that you feared for so long and just ignoring him. His heart must have been absolutely pounding over his chest as he did it. But that was Clough's last year, and it was also the year that they were relegated. And then Frank Clark came in. Frank Clark did quite well, huh?
Oh, he was fabulous. Yeah, he did brilliant. I mean, he just an overall good guy. Yeah, we went up that season, and then the next season was a season where we finished third, which seemed quite magical. Would have been a Champions League spot nowadays. But he did amazingly. But then Stanley Collymore derailed it all the fuck. All of it. Like, I'm too good. If we could just kept hold of Collymore.
What did Frank Clark do afterwards? Not much.
He went to Man City and didn't do very well.
Okay.
And then he became like PFA chairman or something, or League Managers Association. He did that. He's a good guy, old Frank Clark. I think no one's got a bad word for him.
But he left then in the middle of a season. The year after, I guess, they saw Collymore and finished third. And then Pearce takes over as player manager. Does this blot his copybook a bit in the eyes of the Forest fans, the fact that he brought them down?
No, not that one. I was a season ticket holder back in those days. I remember that Arsenal game, his first game in charge. We won. It was, joy was unconfined. But it tailed off. We didn't have a very good team. We were being asset stripped at the time. All the best players had went. No, it didn't ruin his reputation. The fact that he tried to stick around and do the best for us only enhanced it, to be honest. What did blot his copybook was when he came back in 2015, and it was a mess. It was just a mess. He started really strongly, and then it just really tailed off. We knew that at the time, but it was worth it just for that one game where he came out for his first game. If you ever see a clip of that, when Pearcey comes out as the new Forest manager in 2015, it's electric, Johnny. The city ground is on fire. But anyway, so that's it. So he leaves Forest after our second relegation, and no one minds. No one minds. That's fine. We all wish him well. And he wants to play Champions League football, so he goes to Newcastle, but that turns hellish because of Hullet. Never plays him. Shearer asks him, "Are you sleeping with his missus?" Which doesn't sound like a real quote. And he just has a miserable time there. He's ready to pack the game in, but in strides a knight in white, shining armor. Everyone's favorite guy, Harry Redknapp. Good guy, Harry. He likes Harry. All the dickheads he likes. Redknapp gives him a contract, plays him. He breaks his leg twice, but Redknapp still keeps him on. I guess he's just great to have around, right, for the kids and stuff, just to see what a proper player looks like.
Well, you say he's great for the kids, so when he goes to Newcastle, he's like, wow, now this is what a big club feels like. This is fucking incredible. I've been at these family clubs, as he describes them, until now, and he goes there and he's like, wow, this is so big in the city of Newcastle, which we've kind of heard before, right? They kind of say that more than any kind of club, no single club is so central to one city as Newcastle is to the city of Newcastle. Because obviously, most other big cities have more than one team. But anyway, whatever. But then he changes his tune fairly quickly and says being around the whatever, like the kind of the corporate parts of St. James's Park is like being in a dentist's waiting room. And then he arrives in West Ham and he kind of it's a total circus the way he describes it. But he loves this. He loves this. Absolutely loves it. But then he really, to what extent do you think that
just to expand on that circus thing, they were saying that people would just walk into the West Ham training ground and help themselves to like clocks off the wall, like just supporters and stuff. Just walk on in, like, oh, look, a pair of trainers. I'll have those. Like, oh, look, an old shirt. Thanks very much. Yeah, family club. Absolute shit show. Like, it's just wild.
I remember you said before that Pearce said, you said that Pearce has small feet because he was telling a story about his shoes were missing. And he found Joe Cole with them. And Joe Cole has the same size feet as Stuart Pearce. That kind of totally by surprise. But yeah, apparently people would steal each other's shoes. But he loved all of this. But then my question for you was, to what extent do you think Pearce really tried to kind of lean into or cultivate this kind of psycho image? Because he said when you're training, there'd be kids just playing like keepy uppy and head tennis and all the rest of it. And a couple of times he was coming back from his broken legs and the ball was knocked at him and he would give them a scowl and they would all run away. They wouldn't even come and get the ball, which is quite a nice image, really, isn't it?
He has got status, the lad. He absolutely does. And that's really where it ends, isn't it, at West Ham? That's it. He's like, and then with the obligatory, what next? Well, I'd love to get into coaching. And into coaching he does get. With minimal success. So yeah, he goes to Man City, famously brings on David James up front when he had strikers on the bench, forever lost those. He was manager of the Britain team at the 2012 Olympics because of course he was. And then there's famous pictures of him just getting whacked about by Capello. He was just like, I can remember just sitting on the bench, just sort of Capello just whacking him for some reason. Like,
That's the thing they say about Capello, right? That he's terrifying. So was Psycho afraid of Capello? Interesting.
Yeah, I think a little bit. I think he was. I think he was overawed by Capello. Such a huge name.
But Pearce kind of did a lot of the under-21 stuff for England, didn't he? For a long time. Again,
not with much success, and was eventually let go. He's just got an old-fashioned viewpoint about football. It's just not. He's a man from the past. He was in a car crash, and a dump truck rolled over his car. The picture is captioned, "What a load of rubbish." How the fuck did he survive that, Johnny? It is wild.
I hadn't seen the picture, but I had the description is absolutely daft. Wow, look at that. So he walked away from it as well, right?
The truck unscathed.
Lands on top of the car, and he'd kind of jumped to the passenger side somehow.
Yeah, somehow he
happened to be the one part of the car that wasn't smashed to bits.
I mean, you look at that picture, you think someone died in that.
But then he got pulled out. The car went on fire, and he got pulled out of the thing by the fellow who had been driving it, and then he attacked him, which I guess. Kind of understandable, maybe. He went back to Forest.
Yeah, he lasted about 6 months. Started amazingly strongly. Like we won like our first 5 games, and then we won 3 out of the next 21.
Was that in the
It all
championship?
seemed so bright. Yeah, that's it. He had Mikel Antonio back then and Britta Sombalonga. It's like, this is a new dawn. It wasn't a new dawn. It was the same dawn as the other thing. Started out nice and sunny, and then, dark clouds again. This is funny. When he's playing Holland, the famous 4-1 game, the Dutch team had all their stars playing, including Ruud Gullit, Marco van Basten, Wim Kieft, Frank Rijkaard, and Ronald Koeman. Yeah, Gullit, Van Basten, yep, Rijkaard, yep. Koeman, Wim Kieft. I've never fucking heard of him in my life. Like, all the stars, Van Basten, Gullit, Wim Kieft, what?
Well, that's kind of it, really. Having read it before, you never remember anything from these books? So I suppose that was probably a good thing.
The one thing I did remember, Johnny, right in the first chapter, he said after the World Cup, he went back to Nottingham, which he wrote is not a hotbed of football. And I can remember feeling that in my bones and it hurting me years ago. But it's not true now. Like, Nottingham is a hotbed of football. You couldn't get a ticket to Forest to save your life. So things have turned around.
What is the capacity of the City Ground now?
30,500, I think.
Is that must be on the smaller side in the Premier League? Is it the smallest, or is Craven Cottage smaller? Maybe
it's fucking Bournemouth smallest. Bournemouth's like 12,000 or something like. But yeah, it's not very big. It was like 29,500, and like Marinakis just fucking forced 500 seats in there just to make it 30,000 to make it look a bit better. That's what he's doing, lad. Attention to detail, marginal gains, lovely genius, Marinakis. But yeah, back when Pearce used to play, when we used to be consistently good in the 80s, Forest used to get a crowd of about 17,000, like 5 or 6 years after we won the European Cup. It's amazing how far football's come in the intervening years.
Well, actually, I got a text from a friend. He said he listened to our Kevin Keegan episode, and he went down a bit of a Keegan rabbit hole, and he said that Hamburg have been playing in the second division before being promoted to the Bundesliga at one point, and they were filling in the second division of Germany. They're filling a 57,000 seater stadium. Isn't that wild?
It's brilliant, isn't it? Gotta love that German league.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just a quick question: do you have loads of old Forest shirts at home?
Yeah, I've got a few.
Yeah, that's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got the classic. There's a blue Labatt shirt, which is a real.
There's a red thing running down the middle, is there?
No, that's later. A less successful season. The blue Labatt shirt, which is one that Collymore and Roy. I've got one in there. It's got Bohemian on the back, and it's got cigarette burns all over it. Like all my football shirts had in the 90s. Hot rock burns. But yeah, that's it. It was one of those. I got Lars Bohemian on my shirt. 2 months later, I don't think even 2 months later, he was off. Yeah, just as I say, never express admiration about anything about Forest because it'll only hurt me. Everyone's going, oh, look at Ellie Anderson. Look at Ellie Anderson. Oh, 2 Man of the Match awards for England. Oh, brilliant. Oh, first thing, click on BBC website today. He could be off at Christmas. Fucking hell.
Yeah, okay. Also, tell us, what do you think about Stuart Pearce's book, Psycho?
I mean, I appreciate I probably got more out of it than you, Johnny. It's a fairly standard book of the time. I think he comes across all right, but a bit of a stick in the mud, isn't he? He's just an old-fashioned bloke with old-fashioned values.
An old-fashioned miser.
I think that's Liz. I think that's his wife, Liz. I think she's like the miserable one. She's always there with the purse strings. But as I say, left her. So she's in the past. His doppelganger. Honestly, she looks just like him. At the back of the book, there's some pictures, right? So this is what I want to do. So there's some pictures that obviously they've staged, and they've said to Liz, make sure you wear clothes which make you look like they're made out of cardboard. Just sexless clothes. It just looks so alike. And he's got his kid called Chelsea. And he's like, oh, it never even occurred to me that there's a football team called Chelsea. It's like, didn't it? Because it should have done, you fucking idiot, like calling your kid Chelsea. So what's my little daughter? She's called Derby County. But it just, Oh, mate, the captions on the photograph are so tabloid. Like, so here's a picture. It's Stuart Pearce with his wife and their toddler daughter Chelsea, and she's got a little trike. Taken for a ride. Chelsea still relies on mum and dad to give her a push. And there's one with Stuart and Liz and little baby Chelsea, and they're reading a book, Farmyard Tales. And this is teaching Chelsea, helping my daughter with the books. She isn't quite ready to help me with mine. No, she's a toddler. Fucking hell, so shit. There's a picture of Pearce and his wife with some horses horsing around. Oh, well done. In front of their house. Home life. It's just so rubbish. Like, growing old gracefully. A special medal. A golden couple. My parents celebrate a golden couple. Late kickoff. Marrying Liz in Nottingham. Just so rubbish. Good evening, ma'am. I have the privilege of being introduced to Her Majesty the Queen.
How many nipple bites?
Just to go back to the Stuart Pearce advert with Gareth Southgate, I looked that up about 6 or 7 years ago for some reason. I just wanted to see the advert again, and I would just go around saying to my wife, slice of pan pizza, slice of pan pizza. She'd be like, what are you talking about? It's like, don't worry, Heather. Want a slice of pan pizza? And she just, so I want to give it pan pizzas. I give it 3 pan pizzas out of 5. It's all right. If you don't support Forest, give it a miss. We've told you all the best anecdotes.
Yeah, 3 is probably fair. 2.5. I'll give it 2.5 because I actually thought you were going to give it a higher mark. I just decided to give it whatever you said less.
Well, you always do, right? Have you ever rated a book higher than me?
Yeah, I did. Ted Stoddard's Soccer Wars.
Well, I didn't read that book, so I read Richard Kapuscinski's Soccer War. So
yeah. Now you're making me sound like a miserable prick. But okay, 2.5. 2.5 pan pizzas. You said there?
2.5. Yeah, pan pizza.
All right, that's great. I'm happy that we did that. Do we know what our next book and our next draft is?
Well, how about we do? It's not quite soccer player related, but we're going to do a football pundit draft. So we're going to present a imaginary football program, and we have to choose pundits and a presenter, commentator and co-commentator. And then we're going to ask AI, which makes the best TV show. Ooh, baby.
And then are we doing Castel de Sangro?
Yes, we are, Johnny. Yes, we are. Castel de Sangro, which I've managed to buy 2 copies of. So I have 2 copies. So listeners, if anyone wants to leave us a lovely 5-star review on any of your outlets, I will send you that fucking book with my notes in it, you lucky thing.
Lovely stuff. All right, Alistair, thank you very much. And thank you very much, everyone, for listening.
Thank you, folks. Cheerio.